Welcome to Lesson 16.4 on AI for Accessibility. This lesson explores how artificial intelligence tools can advance equity and inclusion in grant-funded work. While previous lessons focused on using AI for proposal development, this lesson examines AI's potential for making your programs and communications more accessible to diverse communities. Accessibility is a core component of equity. When communities cannot access information about programs designed to serve them, those programs fail to achieve their full potential. AI offers powerful tools for breaking down barriers related to language, literacy, and disability. By the end of this lesson, you will understand how to use AI for plain language conversion, multilingual communication, disability accommodation, and culturally responsive engagement while recognizing important limitations that require human oversight. Accessibility is fundamentally about equity. When we create accessible communications, we ensure that the benefits of grant-funded work reach all intended beneficiaries rather than only those who can navigate complex language or standard formats. Language and literacy barriers frequently exclude the most vulnerable populations from accessing services and information. Communities with limited English proficiency, lower literacy levels, or different educational backgrounds may struggle to understand technical materials, even when those materials are designed to help them. Disability accommodations ensure that people with visual, auditory, cognitive, or motor impairments can access the same information as others. These accommodations are both ethical imperatives and legal requirements in many contexts. Cultural responsiveness goes beyond translation to ensure communications resonate with diverse communities' values, communication styles, and cultural contexts. AI can accelerate accessibility efforts at scale in ways that would be prohibitively expensive through traditional approaches. While human expertise remains essential, AI enables organizations to provide accessible materials more quickly and broadly than ever before. Plain language uses clear, straightforward expression to communicate effectively with diverse audiences. It is not about dumbing down content, but about removing unnecessary complexity that interferes with understanding. The average American reads at approximately a 7th to 8th grade level. This means that content written at higher levels excludes large portions of the population, including many people who are highly intelligent but whose literacy skills or English proficiency create barriers to accessing complex text. Technical jargon creates barriers even for educated readers when they encounter unfamiliar terminology. Grant-funded work often involves specialized language from research, healthcare, education, or other fields that community members may not share. The Plain Writing Act requires federal agencies to use plain language in public communications. Many other organizations have adopted similar standards. Plain language is increasingly recognized as a best practice rather than merely an accommodation. AI can rapidly convert complex text to plain language, enabling organizations to create accessible versions of technical materials efficiently. This capability dramatically reduces the time and cost required for plain language conversion. Using AI for plain language conversion involves several key steps. Start by providing the source text along with a target reading level. Common targets include 6th grade for general public materials and 8th grade for somewhat more complex content. Specify audience characteristics and context to help the AI tailor its approach. Are you writing for patients, parents, community members, or another group? What do they already know about the topic? What action should they take based on the information? Request preservation of essential technical accuracy even while simplifying language. Some terms may need to remain technical because no simpler alternative exists or because precision is critical. Review AI output carefully for accuracy and appropriateness. Plain language conversion sometimes loses important nuances or introduces errors. Human review catches these problems before materials reach your audience. Iterate to improve clarity and tone. Initial AI output often benefits from refinement. Ask the AI to try again with different parameters or make targeted edits yourself. The goal is materials that are both accessible and accurate. AI translation capabilities have improved dramatically, enabling organizations to create multilingual content more rapidly and affordably than ever before. This opens possibilities for reaching communities that were previously underserved due to language barriers. Translation quality varies significantly by language pair and content type. Translation between English and Spanish or French, for example, typically produces better results than translation involving less common languages where training data is more limited. Technical content with specialized terminology and culturally specific content that relies on context and nuance present particular challenges. AI may miss subtleties that human translators would catch. Medical, legal, and safety critical content requires especially careful attention. Human review remains essential for important materials. While AI translation can provide useful first drafts and works well for informal communications, materials that will be widely distributed or that carry significant consequences should be reviewed by fluent human speakers. Professional translation services remain appropriate for critical documents like consent forms, legal notices, and health information where accuracy is paramount. Quality assurance for AI translations ensures that materials actually serve their intended purpose. Fluent speakers should review translated materials before distribution. Ideally, reviewers should be native speakers of the target language with familiarity with your content area. They can catch errors, awkward phrasing, and inappropriate word choices that AI may produce. Testing with members of target communities provides real-world feedback on whether materials communicate effectively. Community members can identify confusing passages, unfamiliar terms, or cultural issues that outside reviewers might miss. Check for cultural appropriateness, not just linguistic accuracy. Some concepts, examples, or framings that work well in English may be confusing, irrelevant, or even offensive in other cultural contexts. Effective translation requires cultural adaptation, not just word substitution. Verify that technical terms translated correctly. AI sometimes translates terms that should remain in English or chooses incorrect equivalents for specialized vocabulary. Subject matter experts should review technical terminology, document translation review for quality records. Keeping records of who reviewed materials and when supports accountability and helps you improve processes over time. AI tools can assist with various disability accommodations that make content more accessible. Visual impairments require content that works with screen readers and includes alt text describing images. Screen readers convert text to speech, so content must be structured logically and images must have text descriptions that convey their meaning and purpose. Hearing impairments require captions for video content and transcripts for audio materials. People who are deaf or hard of hearing need text-based alternatives to auditory information. Cognitive accommodations benefit people with learning disabilities, cognitive impairments, or simply those who process information differently. Clear structure, consistent navigation, simplified language, and visual supports all contribute to cognitive accessibility. Motor impairments affect how people navigate and interact with digital content. Keyboard navigation, adequate click targets, and consistent interfaces support users who cannot use a mouse or have limited fine motor control. AI can assist with many of these accommodation tasks, from generating alt text to creating transcripts to simplifying language. These capabilities make accessibility more achievable for organizations with limited resources. Alt text or alternative text provides descriptions of images for users who cannot see them. Screen readers read alt text aloud, enabling blind and visually impaired users to understand image content. AI can generate initial alt text descriptions for images, significantly reducing the effort required to make visual content accessible. Upload an image and ask the AI to describe it for alt text purposes. Effective alt text conveys the meaning and purpose of an image rather than just its literal content. An image of a graph should describe what the data shows, not just that it is a graph. An image of people should describe what they are doing in context. Decorative images that do not convey substantive content need minimal alt text, often just empty quotes to indicate screen readers should skip them. Over-describing decorative images clutters the experience for screen reader users. Human review ensures alt text is accurate and appropriately captures image meaning. AI may misinterpret images or fail to understand context. Review alt text before publishing to catch errors and improve descriptions. Audio and video content requires text alternatives for deaf and hard of hearing users, as well as anyone who prefers reading to listening. AI transcription has become remarkably accurate for clear speech in common languages. Services can transcribe audio in near real time with accuracy rates that rival human transcribers for many content types. Captions for video should include speaker identification when multiple people are talking, as well as descriptions of relevant non-speech audio like music or sound effects. These elements help viewers understand the full context. Transcripts provide an alternative format for audio content that enables searching and skimming. Some users prefer transcripts to audio even without hearing impairments because they can read faster than listening and easily find specific information. Review and correct AI transcription errors before publishing. Even accurate transcription will contain some errors, particularly with proper names, technical terms, accented speech, or audio quality issues. Human review catches these errors and ensures quality. AI can support cognitive accessibility in multiple ways that help people with diverse learning styles and abilities. Simplifying complex documents makes content more accessible to people with learning disabilities, cognitive impairments, or limited familiarity with the subject matter. Plain language conversion, discussed earlier, serves cognitive accessibility as well as literacy accessibility. Creating summaries of lengthy materials helps readers understand key points without processing entire documents. Executive summaries, key takeaways, and point versions all support cognitive accessibility. Generating structured outlines and navigation aids helps readers understand document organization and find specific information. Clear headings, tables of contents, and logical structure all support navigation. Developing glossaries for technical terms provides reference resources for readers encountering unfamiliar vocabulary. AI can quickly generate definitions for specialized terms used in your materials. Creating multiple versions for different reading levels allows organizations to meet diverse needs. A technical version for professionals and a simplified version for community members can both serve their intended audiences effectively. Cultural responsiveness goes beyond translation to ensure communications resonate with diverse communities' values, experiences, and communication styles. Effective communication respects cultural context rather than assuming one-size-fits-all approaches work across all communities. What motivates engagement, builds trust, and communicates respect varies across cultural groups. Examples and references should resonate with intended audiences. Stories, metaphors, and illustrations that work well for one community may be unfamiliar or even inappropriate for another. Adapting these elements increases relevance and engagement. Communication styles vary across cultures in ways that affect how messages are received. Directness, formality, visual versus text emphasis, and many other dimensions differ across cultural groups. AI can help adapt content for different cultural contexts, but this application requires particular care. AI's cultural knowledge comes from training data that may contain biases or gaps. Community input remains essential for cultural sensitivity. Members of target communities can identify cultural issues that outside perspectives, including AI, might miss. Engage community representatives in reviewing culturally adapted materials. Implementing AI accessibility tools effectively requires integrating them into routine practices rather than treating accessibility as an afterthought. Integrating accessibility into routine content development means considering accessibility from the beginning of any communication project. Retrofitting accessibility is more difficult and expensive than building it in from the start. Creating templates with accessibility features built in ensures that new materials start from an accessible foundation. Templates can include proper heading structures, alt text prompts, and other accessibility elements. Developing workflows that include accessibility checks makes accessibility review a standard part of content production. Include accessibility review alongside other quality checks before materials are published. Training staff on AI accessibility tools ensures that team members can effectively use these capabilities. Training should cover both tool mechanics and accessibility principles that guide appropriate use. Budgeting for professional services when needed acknowledges that AI assistance does not eliminate the need for human expertise. Professional translators, accessibility consultants, and community reviewers add value that AI cannot fully replicate. While AI offers powerful accessibility capabilities, important limitations require attention. AI accessibility tools are aids, not replacements for human expertise. They accelerate work and reduce costs, but human judgment remains essential for quality and appropriateness. Errors in accessible materials can cause harm, particularly for health, safety, and legal content. Incorrect translations of medical instructions or consent forms could have serious consequences. The stakes involved require careful human oversight. Some populations are poorly served by current AI tools. Less common languages, regional dialects, and specialized terminology may produce lower quality results. Populations already marginalized by mainstream technology may receive inadequate service from AI tools as well. Automated accessibility does not equal genuine inclusion. Producing accessible materials is only part of inclusion. True inclusion requires engagement, relationship building, and responsive adaptation that technology alone cannot provide. Community engagement cannot be automated. While AI can help produce materials for community engagement, the engagement itself requires human connection. Accessible materials are tools for engagement, not substitutes for it. Accessibility considerations should inform your grant applications as well as your program implementation. Describing accessibility practices in proposals demonstrates commitment to reaching all intended beneficiaries. Explain how you will ensure that program materials, communications, and services are accessible to diverse populations. Budgeting for accessibility in project design ensures resources are available for this work. Line items might include translation services, accessibility consultation, assistive technology, or staff time for accessibility review. Including accessibility in evaluation plans allows you to measure whether accessibility efforts are effective. Consider how you will know whether target populations can access and understand your materials and services. Addressing accessibility in dissemination strategies ensures that research findings and program results reach diverse audiences. Accessible publications, presentations, and communications extend the impact of your work. Framing accessibility as equity commitment positions this work within your organization's values, rather than as mere compliance. Funders increasingly prioritize equity, and accessibility is a concrete dimension of equitable practice. Today's lesson explored how AI tools can advance accessibility and equity in grant-funded work. We established that accessibility is fundamentally about equity, ensuring that program benefits reach all intended beneficiaries rather than only those who can navigate standard formats and complex language. AI enables rapid accessibility improvements at scale that would be prohibitively expensive through traditional approaches alone. Plain language conversion makes technical content accessible to readers with diverse literacy levels. Multilingual translation extends reach to communities with limited English proficiency. Disability accommodations, including alt text, captioning, and cognitive accessibility supports, ensure universal access. Cultural responsiveness adapts content for diverse community contexts. Throughout these applications, human oversight remains essential for quality and appropriateness. AI tools accelerate accessibility work but cannot replace the judgment, cultural knowledge, and community connection that human practitioners provide. Practical implementation requires integrating accessibility into routine workflows rather than treating it as an afterthought. In our next lesson, we examine funder policies on AI, exploring the evolving landscape of funder expectations and requirements for AI use in grant work. Thank you for engaging with these concepts about accessibility and inclusion.